Well, good morning. We are.
Is it still morning?
Yeah, I know. It took forever to get here. It took forever to get here. Uh, Tampa traffic construction is outrageous. Oh, great. We're gonna have some people mowing the lawn here. So we are out of the house. We like to do that, on special occasions.
On the spot.
Like to be outside because we live in a tremendous area. So we like to get out sometimes.
We live in a beautiful area. Tampa is beautiful.
Because Debbie has the day off because it's a bank holiday. It's Columbus Day. If you were wondering why people have off, because some people we don't even deal with Columbus Day so often that people don't even know why we have Columbus Day off. Columbus was supposedly the person who discovered America, although he discovered it and there are people already here. So and he was lost in about 3 days from being tossed overboard because they were
lost.
They were horrifically lost. In any case, and he didn't find this continent. He found the West Indies, what we call West Indies. But that's why you have the day off, or you don't have the day off.
I have the day off.
I don't have the day off. So we wanted to get outside and do something a little different. So we did, and here we are. We're at. I'm not going to tell you. This is a super secret location.
But it's a very beautiful park.
None of the locals want anybody to know about it, so I'm not going to tell you where it is. But it's nice, and you saw in the open video, you saw the view, and if you know it, you already know where it is.
You know the secret.
You know
so
the
keep
secret.
the secret.
Keep the secret. I'm not going to tell you where it is. All right. Anyway.
Because we don't want too many people. To come here. It's a very secret place.
It's a place, and it's well hidden, and it's awesome. In any case, we're going to talk about what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about something that I think that is really important in the building in the beginning with a lot of relationships that often gets overlooked, often gets just pushed to the side.
We didn't
or
pay
ignored.
attention to
No,
it.
sure didn't.
I didn't even think about it. And
I didn't know enough to even know about it.
As a Christian, you should think about it.
You should.
Because not every marriage is blessed to have survived it as we did.
And the word says that you shouldn't be unequally yoked, and that is an important thing. And we find that a lot of people struggle because they are unevenly yoked, and especially in the beginning. I think that you could probably, with prayer and work, overcome it, but I think a lot of people get blindsided by it. They don't know what's wrong, they don't know what's coming, and they get blindsided by it because it's expectations again.
Yes.
After that,
because we go into a relationship, like you said, blindsided, but then we as women think that we can change them.
Oh, missionary dating. We hear that missionary dating all the time. Yeah, the little Christian. No. We hear about it all the time. The little Christian girl, dates the bad boy because she can fix it. She can fix him.
But
do you know how often that happens?
90% of the time, you can't do that.
Never.
So I don't recommend that you missionary date, that you try to date somebody and you think, he will change.
If Christ hasn't changed them, you're not going to change them either. And that's really the deal. If Christ hasn't changed them, you're not going to change them either. So missionary dating is a ridiculously bad idea for everybody concerned. Mm-hmm. Because even the person that you're trying to change is seeing such a negative example of what Christ is and what Christ should be and what the church should be, that what you're doing is probably pushing them farther away and not drawing them near. So you're not doing them any good, and you're definitely not doing yourself any good.
Because and I'm not going to say that it happens all the time, but most of the time you are doing things that are not Christ-like with this person. If you're dating an ungodly person, you're going to more likely go to his or her side.
It ain't always a boy.
No.
It ain't always a boy.
No, there are guys that do the same thing. Mm-hmm. You're going to more than likely go to their side and just do things because how did you meet them?
The perfect example or illustration I've seen is like if someone is standing on a chair it is almost impossible to pull somebody up onto that chair. But it's really easy to get pulled down off that chair.
Yes.
It's really easy for that to happen.
That's a good explanation.
So
Example.
well, that's how it really is. You know, if you think you can pull them up onto the chair,
You can.
you probably can. But they can easily, without even meaning to, really pull you off that chair,
and pull you into their environment.
and they may not even
doing.
and they may not even want to. They may not even want to, but just because of the way who they are and the way they live, they could easily pull you down off of where you are, and then you end up like them or worse.
Sometimes worse, because you know the other side, and sometimes you think this is easier.
Well, you know, it's funny. I thought, I just had a thought that, if you guys seen the movie Ray, remember that scene where Mary wants to try heroin, and Ray says not to, and he gets all mad at her and tells her not to because he knows what that is, but she is insistent
That she wants to
that
try.
that she wants to see what he sees, and it ends up killing her. She's never the same, and it ends up killing her. And it took Ray Charles a long time to get that monkey off his back, but at least it didn't kill him. It killed Mary. It was much worse.
And he was devastated that he started her on it.
Because he knew what to expect. He knew that would happen. So when he got the call, he was saddened, but he wasn't surprised. And that's how that's another illustration of how all this can be. So if you get pulled off your chair, you're probably going to end up in a worse place than the person that you thought you were trying to help. Debbie asked how we got through it, and of course I was all I don't know. I was all braggadocious.
Yeah, I asked him last night. That's how we came up with the topic. Is I asked him last night, how is it that we survived and you became a Christian? When I met him, he was not a godly person. He didn't go to church. He didn't believe in it.
That's where you get off. I was a good guy. I wasn't a God guy. I didn't grow up in the church, and I am really solid in this idea of people growing up in the church is something that's going to be, I don't know, the bellwether of their Christianity for the rest of their lives. No, it should give you a leg up or an advantage, but it doesn't always.
No.
It doesn't always. Sometimes it's the worst thing, depending on what church you grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
And how church was done where you were. So I don't necessarily think that's the bellwether. That wasn't me. I didn't grow up in the church. Now it wasn't that I wasn't a believer, but I didn't know anything. How you can be,
that may have been a plus.
How you can believe and not know anything, not have any church baggage. I didn't have anything. So maybe that was it. And I wasn't a person, even though, and you've seen the videos, I wasn't angry at God. I wasn't angry at God.
When he had all the right to be.
I could have been. The life could have. The life could have. The whole thing could have just gone another direction entirely. But I wasn't mad at God. I didn't blame God. I didn't hate Christians or what they did. I just didn't. I just didn't. It's one of those things like food. Like, you may have a food you like, and I don't like it, but I don't hate you for it. I'll go and buy it for you, bring it to you. I'm not going to eat it though.
Crab.
Yeah.
Seafood is
That. I'm not a big blue crab fan or seafood or seafood fan. But if you want some, I'll go get you some.
Yeah.
You want some? No, I'm good. That's kind of how it was with church. When Debbie decided to go back to church after our son was born and after her father passed away, we've talked about that before. I was all for it, really. Just do what you do to make you feel better, to make you better. That's fine. I wasn't excited about joining. I didn't have in my mind the expectation that we would sit there, in the front row as a church family and our Sunday going to meeting clothes. That was not my expectation. That was not how I saw anything. So I didn't have that in my history or in my memory or as an expectation for my life.
Or envision.
I didn't have that as a vision for my life. I just didn't. So, but I didn't disrespect people who did. I thought it was, and I think it's fine. I thought even then it's awesome. If that's the quality of your life and your life is good, do you rock on? I thought it was a great idea, and I think that a lot of people. I don't know if I was special. I don't know if I would consider myself special.
You were different.
I was different.
Eccentric.
You probably no. I was only eccentric because of how you grew up. I was perfectly normal with my friends.
Yes.
See, you grew up in a different environment. I wasn't eccentric at all. I was bold and brash, and I didn't give a crap.
Harsh.
I was harsh. I was sarcastic because that was my friends.
Because I really didn't like his attitude when I first met him.
Nobody there liked me.
No.
John, the manager, liked me. Who brought me from the other restaurant. He was the only one.
And everybody else was like, Crazy Willie.
I just do what I want.
That's why a lot of them that see us now
do whatever I want.
When I started dating him, people were like, "You went out with Willie?"
Yeah. As it turns out, I was the best one of the bunch.
Yes.
But
and now
that's how it is. I'm still the best one of the bunch.
30 years later,
I'm still the best one of the bunch. Still. Linda
I
Cooper?
have Crazy Willie.
I'm still the best one of the bunch. I knew I was then, and I am now. So that it's so. And I'm not saying
we love you, Linda.
That I'm just telling you because she ain't like me either. I'm gonna be honest. Linda ain't like me.
She put up with you more than the others.
Well, they had to because John wasn't gonna fire me. Linda and who else? And Inga and Portia and Malone and all those people. Y'all know because y'all watch. I know y'all tune in from time to time. Yeah, nobody liked me.
Marie especially.
Marie. I know. But I'm gonna tell you. And you can't depend on somebody who's this kind of special. And I was kind of special. I was kind of special. Not all the good ways, but I was kind of special. But I think that was really what the deal was. And I think it's because we were destined to do this.
Yes.
So
God had a plan. For our life.
So maybe it wasn't either necessary or even possible for me to go through what would have been seen by you and your family as the normal, and your friends and our friends there at your friends there at Pizza Hut, the normal channels. Because maybe in order to do this I couldn't come that direction. Pastor mentioned yesterday that was it God's will that Joseph's brother sold him into slavery? Probably not. But God used that very circuitous, bizarre route to have David be to have Joseph be who Joseph ended up being. Might have been done differently, most certainly, but God used that route anyway. So
He can take something when you make mistakes and you make bad decisions. He can change it and make it into a positive thing.
And maybe because I didn't go through the normal route that a lot of people think that people should go through. I didn't grow up in the church. So thus me not having that baggage of whatever religious baggage that people have was a benefit.
Yes.
Was a benefit that I didn't come to Christ until later in life.
So the first church that you came to, and
I think they probably would have understood that better than if I had started in, I don't know, some other church at some other time in my life. And I think that at that point I was ready. Because you know what? No matter how much you want it for people, if they're not ready,
you can't change it.
There's nothing you can do about it.
There's
nothing you can do about it. They can go through the steps, they can go through the motions to please you, but if they're not ready, if somebody's not really ready to turn their life over to Christ in a real way,
it's not gonna
happen anyway. It's not gonna work anyway. So they have to be ready. So I had to be a little older, possibly. I had to go through some things, had to have some perspective, And I look back, and I don't feel bad about it because, Saul of Tarsus ended up being Paul, who wrote most of the New Testament. How did he live before God blinded him on the road to Damascus? I mean, really? So was I that bad? No. No, I wasn't killing Christians. I wasn't, you know, and I wasn't torturing people, and I wasn't, you know, I wasn't demeaning the church, that wasn't me. I wasn't living what people would call a godly lifestyle. No. But still, when you learn later that, wait a minute, you weren't like that, but
you were different.
It was different. So I think that's a lot of it, and I was ready to accept later.
Yes.
God had a plan. That's how we were able to survive. God had a plan, and God is sovereign, and that's how we were able to survive.
Yes.
Now, in your relationship that you're thinking of getting in, we can't tell you what to do with the person you have. Now, you can write us an email, and you can ask. But we can't tell you what to do. We can tell you what the word says. We can tell you that you shouldn't be unequally yoked. So at least you should have a conversation
before you get into marriage.
Yeah. I mean, you should definitely have a conversation. It's a park. People are here, and you shouldn't avoid it. You shouldn't avoid the conversation, because it's going to be touchy, and it's going to dig into people a little bit, and it's going to be ouchy. But you should have it, because it's going, especially if it's an important thing to you. Not addressing it is much worse.
You don't want to give up your relationship with the Lord.
You don't want to do that anyway. You don't want to give
you
up.
Don't want to give that
anyway.
Up. So you have to have that talk. You know, what is going to happen when I want to go to church and all of this stuff like that. Because I think I did talk to you about it, but I didn't get an answer that made me think that I needed to change my whole aspect of, you know, our relationship.
Well, because I said go.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was sort of loading up for a fight. I didn't give her a fight.
You did.
Go. Where are you going? Cool. Did you have a good time this morning? Yeah. Cool. And I'm gonna tell you, I truly meant that. I wasn't just saying that to appease Debbie. I truly meant that. Mm-hmm. And frankly, that she met some people in one of those churches that we are still great friends with now. She had a relationship with them before, and now we all have a relationship with them, and their children, and now their grandchildren. Yes. So it was just, again, I had to be ready, and I just wasn't. And I think doing anything else before then, I don't think it would have worked out. I just don't.
It had to be the right time.
It had to be the right time, and it had to be not our time. It had to be God's timing. So there you go. But have a conversation.
You have to have the conversation.
And if someone isn't willing to have the conversation, then you may need to and I know this is hard sayings. You may need to rethink the relationship if they're not willing to have a conversation. Now, don't think because they're not going to disagree with you right away that means it's the end of anything necessarily. But you have to have that conversation.
But if they're harsh to the point of saying, well, I don't want you to go. I don't want you to continue this crazy Christian stuff.
Yeah, I don't believe in any of that stuff. And then at least you got it out in the open, and then you can make a real choice and real decision about how you're going to go farther. And you're right. And if it's harsh and they strike out against you and Christianity and those kind of things, then
you might want to think about it.
You gotta have to rethink that relationship, no doubt.
And it's best to do it in the beginning,
as early in the relationship as possible,
before you get too intimate, too close to this person, and it hurts, and you have to make a choice between them and your relationship with Christ. That's going to be a tough one.
Well, Christ wins all the time. I mean, Christ should win all the time.
He should win.
But it's going to. But you know what? You know what? And the planes are going over. So if that gives you an idea where this is, forget that you heard the plane. Just forget it.
You don't hear planes.
You don't hear planes. But you know, so it's super important that you have all the things we've talked about in all the series of our videos, which we're coming up about We're coming up on our second year here in a couple of months. So you have to really understand that the conversation has to be had. Period. It has to be had. And then and it may be, you may be gearing up for a fight, and it may not be.
Yeah.
You might find someone like me who just hasn't had that experience, and it takes a while to get used to that whole dynamic. So,
And remember that you have to live a life that you are a good reflection to them. You know, don't let them pull you down off that chair. You stand your ground, and don't put your hands down so that they can pull you down.
they want you to be, and people want you to be up in the chair. They do. They really do. The person that you're in a relationship wants you to be up there, so you can see. They want you to be up there. So go ahead and take that stand and take that stance, but have the conversation. Please have the conversation. As ouchy as it's going to be, and it's going to be ouchy as heck, I'm telling you, it's going to be. Have a conversation and be open and listen. Don't think you have to win the argument. Because it's not an argument. It's a conversation. Because that way you can everybody knows where they are. Because once they find out that you're a holy roller, okay, maybe not a holy roller. Once they find out you're a holy roller, that may be enough for them to scurry out the door.
Yeah, they may make the decision for you.
For y'all. So that's why you have to have a conversation. If you say I can't go out, I can't stay out late Saturday night because I got to go to church tomorrow morning, that should perk somebody's ears up. Mm-hmm. So you go to church. Yeah, I've been going to church since I was little, and I go to my parents' church, or whatever the conversation is. Have it sooner than later. The sooner you have it, the sooner that things are going to be the way they should be, and the better. So, okay, there you go. And if you do have any questions, so please send me an email at wls860@gmail.com, or comment in the section below here on YouTube. We appreciate that. And we're going to take a few more shots of this place before we go, and we're not going to tell you where it is. And for those of you who are about to get snow in about 3 weeks, it sucks to be you. It just sucks to be you.
Come to Florida.
I don't feel sorry for you. No, don't come to Florida. Stay there in your misery. Stay there in your misery.
This is so beautiful.
This is nice. I mean, this is a Columbus day outside in short sleeve shirts, in a t-shirt, and in the sun, and the water's right over there, and
nice.
It's nice. It is.
It's not beautiful. Hot.
It's not real hot. We're under the pavilion, so it's
perfect.
It's fairly comfortable here. So anyway, we got to get out of here. Make room for somebody else. So until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself.
Yes, take care.
And remember, we love you.
Love you.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Peace out.
We'll see you when we see you. Bye now.